Back so soon? Oh no, what happened?
A little incident at the dog park. We gotta head to the vet.
Oh, not again. These bills.
We can use CashNet USA. We can apply in minutes, get a fast decision, and have the money in the account as soon as the same business day. All right, Cheddar, back in the car.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See CashNetUSA.com for more details.
Next Level Pet people will do anything for their dogs. That means treating them with next level protection from parasites with NexGard Plus, Afoxolaner, Moxidectin, and parental chewable tablets. NexGard Plus chews provide one-and-done monthly protection against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms, all in a tasty beef-flavored chew. Used with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a preventive. Ask your vet about NexGard Plus Chews.
Hello and welcome back to Who's the Bitch?
Welcome,
I'm
everybody.
Kara Klenk.
Oh, and I am Jackie Zabrowski, and we are ready to listen to your stories and to tell you who's being the bitch in your life.
And it could be you.
Oh my God, it could be you.
It could be you.
I'm excited to tell someone they're being a bitch, and maybe today will be the day.
Yeah. Well, listen, we are pre-recording this episode, so it is the day after the election today, but not where we are. Where we are, we're still
in the
nether
times.
Look, no one's going to know anything, I don't think, until the Saturday after.
Right.
They say.
Right.
Unless it's like a blow. I don't know.
So maybe you're listening to this just so that you don't have to think about it just for a moment.
You should know that we're not going to be talking about it.
We are definitely
anymore.
not. No, we're not talking about it whatsoever today. In fact, we're going to be talking about other things. I know this is coming out after Halloween, and I am getting ready this year. I'm very excited because I'm going as Greta Gremlin, and my husband,
the sexy gremlin,
gremlin,
the
and
red lip.
yes, my husband and I have identified as Greta Gremlin for many years of my life. Even though now watching Gremlins 2 back, yes, maybe she's a bit of a sex pest, okay? Maybe she's not. She doesn't get the play the way she's supposed to get the play. But I will say that man is seduced. And I'm excited because I'm going to be seducing my husband with my character choices,
Who's he dressing as?
So he's going to be one of the slice of life scientists. And it's going to be as if, because he didn't want to be the badman, the other creepy dude.
Okay.
So he's going to be one of the slice of life scientists, essentially like the Christopher Lee-esque person in Gremlins 2. Now, I am very nervous because I have multiple friends in my life that are professional makeup people that have offered. It's like, oh, if you ever need help, like we can I'd pay them. They'd come over. They'd do my makeup for me. And I was like, hell no, I don't need any help. I know how to do makeup. So I bought all these prosthetics. I bought all this stuff that I got to try and apply to my face.
Oh my God.
And my husband was
This is a beach. She has a really gorgeous beach. A red lip, blue eyeshadow.
Oh yeah. But the problem is I wanted to add some eyebrow prosthetics. I wanted to add some scales in there. So I bought a bunch of shit. And now I'm just staring down the barrel of what I decided to do. The party starts at 6 p.m. on a Thursday. What am I supposed to lose half the day to putting on my gremlin face?
I mean, you haven't even done a dry run?
No, I haven't. When am I supposed to do that? And then everyone's like, yeah, you got to do a dry run. I was like, I didn't know you had to do a dry run.
Is it too late to tap one of these friends that offered?
I think it's too late because now we're just a couple of days out from old Halloween.
Does anybody have an hour at 3 p.m. on Halloween?
Can you just stop over just to help me glue things to my face? And I know this isn't a who's the bitch scenario here, but I dare say if there is a bitch here, it's me.
It's you,
it's
baby.
It's definitely me because I wanted to save
professional
money.
Help.
Yes, I wanted to save money, and I was like, no, I can do this.
You flew too close to the sun.
I did, and you know what? People pay a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time to get good at doing things like this to your face. And I've made a mistake. And everyone at this point, you can go and see the pictures that I will inevitably post because, I'm going to do hours of work on my face. So I'm going to have to show it to somebody.
Now I'm literally Googling Greta Gremlin makeup tutorial to see if there's anyone that can help you
I
for
found
free
some.
online.
I found
okay,
some
you've
on
already done
TikTok.
that. Great
I found some on
minds.
TikTok, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do exactly what she does. But I'm also a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm going to sit there and be like, as I'm like taking it off, putting it back on, taking it off, putting it back on. And, sometimes, man, you paint yourself into a bit of a
You painted
corner.
yourself into a gremlin-sized corner.
I certainly did. But that's okay. And you know what? You can teach an old dog new tricks. And this old dog just learned, pay a professional. And sometimes you are the bitch in your own story. You being a bitch to yourself recently?
No, I'm sure I was a bitch to someone at some point.
I bet you are. I
But
mean, you are on the PTA.
I am on the PTA, but I've been...
I'm sorry, are you the head of the PTA?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm not, but I'm considering it for next year.
Interesting.
Well, with another friend. We're talking about maybe doing it together because it's annoying to do it alone.
Yeah.
And we were like, we could have fun if we did it together.
You
So
got a tag team.
we might do it together. But no, I'm on. I was a bitch. I had to be on a 3-hour webinar on the Saturday before Halloween, where I had
about what?
multiple parties to take my kids to. About
Is this a school thing?
yes,
Do they do
it's
webinars?
about that committee that I'm on.
Oh my God.
This committee that I'm on, where they're like, you have to listen to this 3-hour webinar, and I just went to kids events with my AirPods in. So I think I was the bitch because I was at parties with AirPods in. But I had it turned down, so I was barely listening. I was just like there for the attendance of it all because I'm going to go back and read all the notes and like the PowerPoint. They send it to you. So I'm just going to like go read it. But like, so I will know the information. But I just like, I announced it when I got to the first party. I go, by the way, I'm on like a webinar for my kid's school. I'm not really listening. I was having full conversations with people. But then people did keep saying, are you on a call? I was like, it's a webinar. I'm not really paying attention.
So are webinars like a big part of your life? And is this another reason why I shouldn't have children?
No, webinars are not a big part of my life.
Okay, that's good.
But if you're any major institution like the Los Angeles Department of Education or like, anything like that is going to have webinars.
I guess, but send out a newsletter. Send me
the slides. Send me a PDF of the slides. I'll go through
you need to read
I
them
don't
to
care
me.
if you ask me for a quiz afterwards so that you can tell that I read it. I think that'd be more effective than a 3-hour webinar.
I think that the world should be scared if I ever have children because I can only imagine. Excuse? I have to do what?
Well, you probably wouldn't run to be on the committee that decides where the funding for your school goes.
You think I'm not going to run to be on every fucking committee I can be on? My mama taught me well.
I'm just saying, I was giving that to you as a compliment. I think I've painted myself into a fucking corner on volunteering for too many things. Not only did I get elected to this, they elected me to vice chair.
Oh
So
my God. I'm talking to the vice chair of the webinar bitches over here.
I was like,
whoa.
They were like, somebody goes, can we nominate you as parliamentarian? I go, abso-fucking-lutely not. You can't. Like I said that to my daughter's old teacher. I didn't say abso-fucking-lutely not. I go, actually. I said, actually, I've been on student government since I was like 10. And that's the part about it that I hate the most. I was like, the Robert's Rules of Order, we need a second. Actually, the motion can't pass unless we have quorum. All that shit.
I don't know anything of what you're saying right now.
It's like Robert's Rules of Order are like the rules of like government, of like, it's like any little government, like PTAs have to use it. School, like I was on SGA student government when I was in college, high school, so anything you have to be like, okay, literally, it's like, do we vote to pay Jackie back? I vote to pay Jackie back for the money she spent on the party.
I'm already annoyed.
Can we get a second?
I'm
All right, it passes. It's so fucking annoying. And they wanted me to control all that. I go, oh,
Hell
no, bitch.
no.
Oh, no. So he was like, how about vice chair? I go, I don't know what that means, but sure. I'll do it.
I lost myself when you said the word parliament earlier because all I thought of was like the cigarettes that you could keep your
the
blow
brand
in the
I
tip.
used to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know those parliaments.
Where you keep your blow in the tip.
Keep your blow in the tip.
My Italian friends, when I would bring those back to Italy, would go, they loved those. I thought they were so cool because they didn't have anything like with a recessed filter like that.
Oh, yeah.
They'd always be like, come si dice? I'd be like, recessed filter. These are not English words you will ever need to learn.
Yeah, this is trash.
Yeah.
This is trash for you to learn. My American trash that I fold into your brain
You do not
space.
need to know this.
No, and there's lots of things that we don't need to know. And one of those things is definitely whatever relationship is happening between Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster.
Let's get into it.
I tell you, the theater kid in me shines reading these
theater
headlines.
Kids are quivering. They're quaking. They are. I swear to God, between the Wicked memes,
oh my
and
God,
all that, and
yes,
Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster. Which, by the way, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, Hugh Jackman obviously is a huge star. Sutton Foster is a huge Broadway star.
Huge Broadway star.
Was the star of a show called Younger. They have always been in stuff together. Like they were in The Music Man together.
For years they were in The Music Man.
Are they in something together right now? She's in Once Upon a Mattress. I don't think he's in that.
No, I don't think. But she just got a divorce from her husband.
And he just got a divorce. He just got a divorce like a year or so ago. So everybody is acting like there's already their divorces. People were like, what's their deal? What's their deal? And they're like, no, we just love each other. We're friends. And you know, theater kids, like everybody's so massaging and handsy and, you know.
You're seeing each other naked. You're, you know, exactly. You're throat massaging each other and you get really close. But man, I will also say as a theater kid, though, I have had quite a few stage romances.
Yeah.
And man, shit happens when you're just like trapped in like a box with somebody on stage and you got to be quiet.
Yeah.
And you got to wait for your cue and you're just so close and you're behind the curtains.
Your wig is itching.
Oh my God, yes. And you know you have homework to do, but that's okay. And I'm hoping this for Hugh Jackman. Now, here's the thing. I have, of course, forever, and I know I'm not the only one, have assumed that maybe Hugh Jackman might be in the closet.
Yes, I have always assumed that it was like he was bi or closeted or I don't know. And I don't really, I hate to say it, there's just something about him that makes me think that. Because it's not like because he does musicals, I think that, you know?
No, I just everything else.
That about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone is always like the way that he comes off, he's very charming. He's very like any person I've ever met that has worked with him has just been like, oh my God, Hugh Jackman is just like, he is as nice as you would expect him to be. And I think it was also because his wife was, and this is coming from a person that's lived in a larger body for most of my life, was a plus size, like his ex was a plus size person. So I was just like, I mean, to Hollywood standards. I'm not saying not to my standards, but it always excited me because I was like, I don't know if you know this, Kara, but I've dated many gay men in my day.
Oh.
And that they've told me afterwards. In fact, I lost my virginity to a gay man who I found out later on. Well, I mean, I could tell at the time, but we're not going down that road. And I always kind of assumed that maybe like Deborah Lee had they had an open thing.
Yeah, maybe open. They weren't married for 27 years.
Yes. And so they were together for quite a span. But I know that, but then there's also part of me that's like, oh my God, but what if Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster get together? And it's not, we're not talking like an Ariana SpongeBob situation here because they're both out of their relationships now.
Yes.
And even though there is like word on the street that Hugh Jackman's ex-wife was like, had suspicions the entire time.
Yeah. Also interesting, he's 56, she's 68. So a little bit of a May-December happening there, a 12-year age gap.
Oh, yes.
Which you see all the time with the genders reversed, but I don't think you see it as much an older woman. Is she...
Sutton Foster is 49.
Sutton Foster's 49.
Yeah.
Deborah Lee's 68.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for him, that would be for them, that would only be a 7-year age gap.
Right.
Okay, so... Deborah Lee Furness, though, she's an actress as well. She was an actress.
Yes, I believe
A song and dance gal. Okay, they also have a child named Oscar. Love the name. Okay. Yeah, I kind of assume anyone that's been in Hollywood for this long and has been married for 27 years, I'm like, there's some kind of arrangement, right?
I know that not every relationship would be that way, but you look at like a Jay-Z and Beyonce and you think, how do they not have an arrangement?
Yeah.
If I was that separated from my partner all the time, and I'm not being a Judith Light over here because Judith Light recently was out and saying like, I've been in a long distance marriage for most of my life and it's the fucking best.
Oh, it works for her, right?
Works for her, works for him. They both love their alone time. They both wanted their own space. They live across the country from each other. And that's just how it worked for them. I'm not that person.
Wow.
But I also would never be a Beyonce or a Jay-Z, so I assume if they're still married, they gotta have some kind of something, right?
Yeah, but like, their level of fame is like so wild. It's hard to, because like, look at even the whole Lemonade album is monetizing their
the infidelity. Yes.
you know? So hard to say. Hard to say.
I know. But
because I cannot imagine that Beyonce's out there fucking anybody and that we haven't heard about it.
How does she have the time?
Yeah,
like I can't imagine. Like I even think about like Sutton Foster. Sutton Foster, how do you when you like you're dark one day out of the week?
Yeah.
Like, how do you even have a
8
torrid
shows
affair?
a week. Yeah, like how are you pulling off?
You're
a torrid
too
affair?
tired to have a torrid affair. Like I'm good. Like hopefully now is when they're beginning their relationship. And I'm gonna say it now. There's no bitches here. This is a bitchless.
This is a bitchless crime.
Okay, and
especially if they do get together after they've both divorced their partners. It's like, what are you going to do? It's not like there was a home wrecking situation there.
No, but the headlines are really trying to get you to be like, but did they?
And they've been doing this for years, by the way. Like I've been seeing little cozied up pictures of them like way before where they're like, we're nothing. We're just best buddies. We spent all of our time together. But now that I hear Deborah Lee, she says she wants to be left out of this narrative and she's not going to talk about Hugh.
She doesn't want to talk about it.
It sounds like she had her suspicions.
It certainly did. And I feel bad for her. But I don't want to say Sutton Foster's the bitch in this scenario.
Yeah, no, she's not. Well, we don't know if anything's happened.
I'm just going to say theater people, they get real cozy when they're on. And I mean, it is... For the best music, that I'm not in theater anymore.
The music is coursing through your veins. You can't not.
Yeah, that you can't stop your feet from a tapping. how could you? I mean, but you also can't stop your kisses from a kissing. You know what I mean?
They were in the music band together, and she's just like, I just get so horny when he sings 76 trombones. Oh my god.
Yes, it in the book.
Yeah, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary.
I feel like I guess I've been talking about this too long. I was going to pivot into talking about Stevie Nicks giving advice to Katy Perry, but I do feel that I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Stevie Nicks not being a bitch in this scenario, and I don't think Katy Perry is either. And I think that it's really beautiful for an older woman who's been in the fucking business for a really long time to look towards a younger starlet and be like, hey, why don't you take some of my advice?
Yeah.
But
I think people, maybe devil's advocate people might have been like, Stevie Nicks doesn't know what it's like in the pop sphere with like these pop girlies and like how they have to compete for fans and this and that. And it's like, no, like if Stevie Nicks was telling you that, that's like, how blessed are you to get one-on-one advice from Stevie Nicks? Like, that's like,
yes,
hey, there's room for all of us. I mean, it's like, again, so much of this stuff is like, monetized. Like, think of how much money her and Taylor Swift both made being in a fight with each other. Bad Blood, all that stuff. Yeah. And then the next album, Taylor's like, we all got crowns. Like, we don't have to, we don't have to be mad at each other. But we sure loved making a bunch of money off of Bad Blood, right?
Certainly.
And having a squad and,
Because my name in your mouth is my name in your mouth. And that is exactly what Stevie Nicks was like. Or you could just take yourself out of that. The situation. But I will say, and also devil's advocate, it's different now. And
Stevie's from a different time.
Stevie Nicks is right. She doesn't have to be on social media.
Pre-internet.
Exactly. Yeah. She doesn't have to be on social media. So she has the luxury of having a phone without the internet because she's like, see, I don't need it. And it's like, yeah, that's beautiful. But we kind of have to be on social media.
You sort of have to for your business.
Yeah.
And it's something that's just funny to me about her. The advice was to Katy Perry because it could have been to like one of like 12 pop girlies. Could have been to Ariana. Could have been to Rihanna.
Yeah.
But it's to Katy Perry who's having a tough year.
Yikes.
That last album was a flop. Was a flop arena.
That song plagued my life.
I don't even know it.
It's bad.
Oh,
it's called "It's a Woman's World," and the chorus literally goes, "It's a woman's world, and you're lucky to be living in it." So soft, so strong. These are actual lyrics. I don't know if you guys know this.
I feel people think she's the bitch for working with Dr. Luke.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. And I would agree with you. So
and obviously the magic formula is gone. It's not working anymore.
No. So maybe you shouldn't work with him anymore, Katy Perry. Think about that. But anyway.
I love the idea of like Katy Perry with like 2 whipped cream bottles attached to her tits going up to Stevie Nicks and being like, so who are your rivals?
Oh my God.
And Stevie Nicks going, bitch,
get
not
away
today.
From me. And she's like, you want to smell my shoes? Have you looked at the Katy Perry scented sandals that she has.
What?
Years ago, Katy Perry came out with these fruity and so you can get like a kiwi and it's in between your toes and it's like little sandals, but they all reek of
sounds terrible.
Toxic fruits.
It sounds like when you get those garbage bags that have lavender in them.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, so now it's just lavender garbage.
It's lavender garbage. And isn't it nice?
A kiwi sweaty foot. No, I'm good.
Yes,
I'm all good on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Back so soon? Oh no, what happened?
A little incident at the dog park. We gotta head to the vet.
Oh, not again. These bills.
We can use CashNet USA. We can apply in minutes, get a fast decision, and have the money in the account as soon as the same business day. All right, Cheddar, back in the car.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See CashNetUSA.com for more details.
Okay, let's talk about Claude, the if-you-know-you-know AI assistant that's got everyone buzzing. Claude is like having a super smart, emotionally intelligent buddy in your pocket that responds like a real person would. Claude can help with just about anything, whether you need advice, inspiration, or even someone to help craft that perfect text to your crush. Claude can switch from being your life coach to your personal stylist to your side hustle strategist all in one conversation. Head to Claude.com, that's CLAUDE.com, and start chatting with Claude for free.
But that will be us for unsolicited advice.
That's our unsolicited advice for the day.
Yes.
For the week. But we wanted to, before we get into our solicited advice where we read your emails and your DMs and everything like that.
And thank you so much. And you can send in your own to who'sthebitch.com. Go to who'sthebitch.com. You can hit us up with a DM. You can leave us a voicemail. You can send us in an email. Whatever you'd like, who'sthebitch.com.
And we'd love voicemails. We do love a voicemail, 424-666-0667. Just call in anytime you want when you're in the privacy of your own car or whatever. Leave us a little info. I love to hear the voices behind the problems. So we did get one voicemail follow-up to 2 weeks ago's episode where we talked about the caller had a roommate named Sarah who was in a relationship with a guy named John, but was cozying up to a guy named George and having a bit of an emotional affair. And then when John found out, he was mad at the friends, like the caller, basically, for not, giving him a heads up, even though this was her roommate and like she doesn't owe him anything.
Yes.
We gave her a firm, you're not the bitch. She called back just to give us a few more juicy details, and we felt like it would only be fair to pass those on to you guys. So.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. To listen to voicemail, Who's the Bitch? Beep.
Hey, Kara and Jackie. This is Sarah's roommate calling back regarding the Sarah John George love triangle. It's very cool to get your advice. I appreciate it, knowing I'm not the bitch. I'm just calling back because I thought I'd give you a little more context since you guys had some questions, and it's a pretty juicy situation. I could talk about it for so long, but I'll just touch on a few things that you mentioned just so you have some more information about this. One, I did actually talk to Sarah at one point about what was going on between her and George, because it was so weird seeing her cuddly with this other guy, knowing she was in like kind of a long-term committed relationship. And when I talked to her about it, she was still really conflicted, not sure what to do. And I didn't tell her what to do. I just sort of checked in and was like, do you need some help with this? Because it's kind of weird what's going on. And she was like, I know it's weird. I just don't really know what to do about it yet. Eventually, she told George that she was choosing to leave John. She was going to leave him for this new guy. And then she had this conversation with John, telling him about the thing with George and how she was unhappy with the relationship, planning to break up with John. And John convinced her to stay with him.
I don't know how
I thought was so crazy. And there was this tearful falling out with George. He was so depressed for like a year after this happened because he'd been told he was going to be with this girl who he was getting intimate with, and she was going to break up with her boyfriend. But then she changed her mind. And it was so crazy. Anyway, John and Sarah, they actually live in a different province from me. Now, we are in Canada, so they live in a different province. So I don't really see them. But yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of John. He was just kind of a rude guy, and I didn't like hanging out with him. And yes, he totally would blame other people for his problems. And I was so conflicted about telling John about the whole thing. I didn't really want to, but I mean, I was seeing Sarah putting herself in a really bad position and getting involved with two guys, but I'm not going to tell, John. It was crazy. Anyway, I appreciate your affirmation that I'm not that bitch, because this happened like 3 years ago and it's still weighing on me. Like, should I have intervened? But clearly that's not my place. And here's to hoping John is a better guy, but I don't really know. Anyway, thanks guys. Bye-bye.
I'm not holding out hope for John.
Oh my God, he convinced her to stay. I don't understand that, and I'm gonna say the Leo in me. Maybe it's the Leo. But if someone wants to go, fucking go.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah.
There's the door. You don't want to be with me anymore? Go. I don't want to be with you anymore. I have no desire to ever try to talk somebody back into staying with me.
And how did he do it? Like, how did he do it? It must have been like emotionally manipulative, because like
had to be.
If she was like unhappy enough that she was engaging in this other relationship and about to break up, I wonder if he pulled some shit like, I can't live without you kind of stuff.
That
like,
bullshit,
who knows?
Which, I mean, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I've never been in a proper relationship with someone that was that much of a manipulator that wanted to be like, no, I'm right in this situation. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely left before with someone being like, please, dude.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm done. If I'm already walking out the door, you ain't gonna stop me. But, I'm a different bitch than other bitches.
Yeah.
And when someone looks at me and doesn't choose me anymore, I'm done.
And I just wonder if Sarah still thinks about George, if she's still like, did I make the right decision? Could George have been the right one? And poor George. I thought George was just kind of like a doofus that was like, playing some footsie on the couch when they would hang out all as a group.
It seemed like they had something going.
I didn't know he was being told, I'm leaving for you. I'm coming, like, we're going to be together. And then it was...
Because then that makes her the bitch.
It's very rom-com. We've seen that story a million times,
And it's always and forever my problem is that were you a big rom-com gal?
Yeah.
I was huge into rom-coms. Still kind of.
Yeah.
And I know that there are things that we look back on now and it's like, well, that was toxic. Oh, that was toxic.
Yeah.
But then I would watch them just be like, I want to be sleepless in Seattle. Let me. I'm MFEO, which is made for each other. And that's from Sleepless in Seattle. And I know that there's a lot of it that's toxic, but I do love, I love that kind of like, I'd go to the ends of the world for you.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's not necessarily.
It's like, I know I shouldn't have left. I know I should have left John to be with you, George, but I was pregnant, and it was his,
yes. Give me it. I am just waiting for, I don't know if it's like when I hit the age group where I'm more around and more aware during the day so that I can start with my soaps. I'm waiting to hit that age where I've got my stories every day and I sit and I watch my stories. That, or like, when are they going to start really like shooting the soaps towards our age group?
Like, I haven't watched a soap in 15 years, 20 years. No. I would love to know, like, what they even talk about. The style must have changed,
it's gotta
right?
Be bananas, yeah. But it was bananas back then.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my mom was an As the World Turns-er. So As the World Turns was on every single day.
Okay.
But then there was also like the crazy ones where it's like, and then we pull this guy out of a hat and then he does a curse on you. And you're like, what?
Remember like Passions? There were like the ones that were wild, that were like, there were witches and like all kinds of crazy shit. Like Passions was a wild one. But like I was at All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital, all of the channel, all of the ABC family.
Yes.
But All My Children, I mean, I loved Susan Lucci. Oh my God. I just loved her.
Oh my God. I just realized it's why I've forever been in love with Julianne Moore is because of As the World Turns.
She was on that?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Man.
And people used to start in soaps that I don't know if they do anymore.
They don't.
Supposedly,
you can't jump out.
One of the Menendez brothers in this, Ryan Murphy, came from the soap world.
Whoa.
They had to kill his character off, I think, because he got big. But I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's go to our thank you so much for following up on the Sarah
thank
George
you
John.
so much. We love a follow-up. Please, juicy.
That was follow-up corner, everybody.
Yes.
Jackie, why don't you take us through this first?
I would love
message.
this because, oh man, do Kara and I have a lot to say about this. This is going out to you, Bugthirst. I was recently asking about sending this in chat a few days ago, but I really need to know who the bitch is in this scenario. About 4 years or so ago, I found out that my father had a secret daughter with his ex-wife that I did not find out about until he told me at a family member's birthday dinner. He said he wanted to wait until I was older to tell me. I was 18 at the time, which meant 18 years of not knowing I had a sister. The entire family had known about this besides me and my other sibling. Fast forward a few years, and my mother told me that I had a secret brother as well that she had had before me and my sister, who she had recently gotten into contact with. My family thought it was really silly of me to get so upset over it, but I feel as though it was a life-altering experience 2 separate times. So I really want to know, who's the bitch? Thank you.
Thank you so much for writing in about this.
Because you wrote in, and I will say, Kara started telling me about the situation, and I was like, oh, I have a secret sister too.
Which I didn't know.
Because it's not real, like, it's not usually the thing that just comes up in casual conversation. So I completely understand where you are coming from, because I didn't find out about secret sister until I was in my 20s. And I was bowled over, had absolutely no idea. Both of my parents were like, yeah, but like, it's not that big of a thing. And I think these boomers, I'm blaming the boomers, guys.
Yeah.
I think it
Boomer
used to
bitch.
be so much easier to get away with secret family than it is now, that I feel like they think it's like, oh yeah, secret family. Yeah, everybody's got secret family. Yeah. That's how you find out about secret family.
There's also, which I want to talk about secret families because I have some relations to it, but like these were not secret families even. These were both, this says. These were known, but they were also exes. Like, they were before these two people got together. They both had kids separately, it sounds like. I don't know how the mother, maybe she gave it up for adoption. Max, I would love the details.
I need more details, please. Details, please.
Your mom had a secret brother before she had you and your sister. But I'm getting the feeling that neither of these were infidelities, that these were before your parents got together.
Right.
In which case, I don't see what the big deal is with just telling your kids from a young age. I have a child from a previous relationship. Hopefully you'll meet them someday. So that it doesn't feel like a slap in the face when you're 18. There's this other person that's been running around the world, you know?
Yes. And just, it's this... I do feel that, and I mean, I don't have children, but I would assume that there is a more openness with children now that there used to not be. Because I even feel like, I talk about this with my other co-hosts, like, I asked, like, when your kids ask you really difficult questions, how do you answer? And they said, well, you know, if they're old enough to ask the question, they are old enough to receive at least part of the truth. And they really feel that way. And it's just so different than how any of us were raised that I'm like, no. It's like, I remember when I asked my mom if Barry Manilow was gay, and she went, yes, he's happy and lighthearted. And
I asked my dad what knocked up meant when I watched Dirty Dancing, and he wouldn't tell me. So that movie was very confusing to me.
Why? Like, I understand. I get, you know, it's like, I understand an old boomer dad not wanting to, like, get into all that, because Lord knows his, like, lips might fall off.
Just say it means pregnant.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
She got pregnant.
She got pregnant.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's all you have to say.
Yeah.
But then it's like all of this, like, don't your parents, Bugthirst, realize that it was so much harder pretending like these people didn't exist rather than, like, I understand it does seem like, and I am assuming because we don't have the details, that your mother may have given your brother up for adoption. So maybe that was a different conversation that maybe she wasn't ready to have with you yet. That's understandable. I am so curious.
But she had recently gotten into contact with, so maybe it was that. Yes.
So maybe it was something like that. So I would understand why maybe that wouldn't come up, or something that she was waiting until you got older.
Still easing into a relationship with this person, and
completely understandable. But the fact that your dad had a daughter with his ex-wife, it's not at that point to your dad. That's not a secret daughter.
Yeah,
it's I'm assuming that the daughter. I guess that's my question. Was the daughter? I guess it wasn't because they waited until you were 18,
so they knew about her. My thing is, it really, whatever your parents made their decision, they made their decision to tell you when they told you. And as parents, we make mistakes all the fucking time. They are the bitches because they are not respecting your feelings about it. I think it's absolutely fine for you to be mind blown about this and for them to be gaslighting you a little bit into being like,
yes,
it's really not that big of a deal.
Because it's a huge
Two separate fucking siblings that we've never told you about. And it's like, Mom, why didn't you tell me about that one when I found out about the one when I was 18? Right. That would have been a great time to just do a 1-2 punch and tell me about both of them.
But also to have a very important conversation of like, I made this choice and this is what I did. And it's not shame. I wouldn't view it as shameful if my mom came to me to tell me something like that. I'd be like, wow, thank you so much for sharing. And you know, it is a connection then that you have with your parent to undergo like them sharing a trauma like that. I've learned things like traumas that have happened in my mom's life as an adult that I didn't know when I was a kid. I understand. It wasn't the time for me to know about those things at that time. But this, you're so right in the fact that they are the bitches because they're not validating your feelings.
Yeah. Like they're not saying, you know what, if we knew that you would feel this way, I wish we had told you sooner. And then how do you want to go? What's the next step?
Right.
What would you like? Would you like to meet these people? What, you know, what's the next thing? But it's very boomer. I don't know how old your parents are, but it's very boomer to be like, you're acting. It's not that big of a deal. Or it's like what your mom said to you. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Right. And it was like the kind of thing that they just assumed this person would never contact us. And they're like, oh yeah, we knew about that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they also didn't think it was that big of a deal because my mom was like, it was a different life.
Yeah.
It was a different life for your father. Like my dad is an older dad. Like he was in his 40s when he got married to my mom.
Yeah.
So like he's an older dad.
Okay.
And my mom was like, he had a whole life before.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I'm 37 years old and I could only imagine going through all of this and then getting married in my 40s and then starting a family then.
Yeah.
That's a different world.
Yeah. And like I was telling Jackie this, like my dad has a sister that I didn't find out, a half sister I didn't find out about until I was in my 20s. And I was like, what? And then they never met because she wasn't open to it. But then her children got in touch with my mom, got in touch with them on like Facebook and orchestrated them to all meet. My dad to meet essentially his like half niece, I think, and her husband at my comedy show in New York City at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, which at a stand-up show lobby, that's really where you want to meet somebody who's a long-lost relative.
Yes, at a bringer show.
That you've never met.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Bring them all. All right. You were. It was a lineup.
You suggest it was a booked show. It was a successful show in New York for a decade.
At least it was a successful show. You imagine if they brought him to one of like the other kind of shows we used to do.
They came. They loved I think they like wanted the fact to put like the
show
attention.
Off.
No, to put the attention on me.
But that's a lot on you.
I know, but so that it was like those people could say, "Oh, that was so funny. We had such a great time," and that it wasn't like, "So here we all are meeting at a coffee shop." Hi, you know.
That is because what do you say over eggs?
But dude, like I have a small group of girlfriends from high school, and like 3 of them, their dads had secret families.
It's insane.
It was easy back in the day
because no one had social media, so they had absolutely no idea.
Find my friends on your iPhone and that shit. I know where my husband is at all times.
Yes, we were talking about this earlier.
He's not in Korea with another family.
No, he certainly is not. My grandfather had a full other wife, other kids across the country, and that is insane. That was like, how do you get married twice? It was like, you know what? Back then, you could just kind of do whatever the fuck you wanted to do.
Yeah. And you just like wouldn't see some of those kids just wouldn't see their dad for like a few months and be like, he's away on work.
Months. Oh yeah. My grandfather was like the head of public relations for Pan Am. So he was always gone.
Jet setting.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, because like flying was not as like commonplace or like easy back then, but if you're working for Pan Am, I guess it
certainly can, especially when
I bet he knew a couple of flight attendants too.
Oh, he certainly
Pan Am
did.
ladies.
Oh, he hung out with like Joan Crawford a lot, and it was like that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, he was old Jack, who I'm named after, and I know that's why you guys came here. You're like, who is Jackie named after?
Where did she get that name?
My philandering grandfather. Damn it!
I love that so much. Anyway, I hope that's helpful.
But let us know. Call us in or send us another email because I'd love more details if you want to share.
Yeah, and I'd like to know whether like they've come around to your feelings and whether you're going to like meet these siblings.
Yes.
And if you feel comfortable sharing, of course. If not, no problem.
Thank you so much for sending in your email.
I've got too many bills.
If you need funds, you can apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and have the money in your account as soon as the same business day.
Okay, got it. Applying now.
They've been helping hardworking people cover emergency expenses since 2004.
Hey, look, I got it.
You've got this.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See cashnetusa.com for more details.
The Home Depot has fast, free delivery on the perfect gift to help Dad do more this Father's Day. Because Dad is more than just a dad. He's groundskeeper of the yard, the perfecter of the patio, and the cleaner of the clippings. Power Dad's doing with Ryobi cordless outdoor power tools from the Home Depot. Like the Ryobi 40-volt string trimmer kit for $159. For everything Dad is, find the perfect gift at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
So this next one is from a listener who says, I haven't talked to one of my closest childhood friends in almost a year. And Jackie and I were just talking about this, by the way. We're getting a lot of like friendship breakups, friendship cutoffs and stuff like that. And we're happy to talk about those because I think it's way more commonplace now. I think there's a lot of reasons for that.
Especially during this election.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with that.
And also we were discussing the idea of boundary setting, and that is something newer to our age group.
Yes.
And I do find, I will say, sometimes people go a little far with their boundary setting, and I think that it is most likely good for them, and I say good for them.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, is it a boundary or are you being a bitch?
Well, it's like, remember when Jonah Hill, all those texts to his girlfriend came out that were so abusive, and he was like, I'm setting a boundary, and my boundary is that you're not allowed to ever be in a bathing suit online. And it's like, that's not a boundary.
That's
you're
not your boundary. Yes.
Somebody.
Yeah, that's a boundary you put on her.
So yeah, I think sometimes the TikTokification of therapy has kind of but also it's a double-edged sword because I do think a lot more people are accessing therapeutic language where they're like, oh, really, the way my dad's been treating me my entire life is narcissistic.
Right.
And I do need to draw a line in the sand and like protect myself. But then there's also the flip side of it where people are like, my boundary is that you're getting too much attention at this party or whatever.
Right. Like, and we're not saying that this is the person that wrote in. We were just talking about this in general.
This is a side note. This side note. Back to this email. I haven't talked to one of my closest childhood friends in almost a year. The last thing she said to me via message was that I only ever want her to feel horrible about herself and I must want to ruin her life.
Oh, no.
Okay, so then we go. I like this because it's like a TV show where you get that and then it's like 10 years earlier. Okay. 10 years earlier, when they were 21 and 22, this is when this all started. And she says, I'll get to that part later, I promise. So about a year and a half ago, her childhood best friend messages her that one of the guys she's talking to said he's flying out to see her for Christmas and she's not sure if she's okay with it because she doesn't know him that well, even though they talk fairly often. They talk about it a little bit and she reveals to her friend that they've known each other for a long time, actually, her and this guy, almost 10 years. And he's sweet, but she thinks he's boring, but it'll be nice to have someone to go do Christmas stuff with instead of her parents.
Cuffing season.
Yeah. So the writer says, not into him, but willing to entertain his advances because he does make her feel special. Well, fast forward a month or two, and they've abruptly gotten married.
Whoa!
Okay. She continues to talk about how she's not really attracted to him, but he's a great dad and her kids love him. She goes back and forth for a month or two about not being physically attracted to him because he's a bit immature and being emotionally attracted to him because he is a very good dad. A bit more backstory, and this is the part that, let's say, happened 10 years ago. That's when she met her now husband. He was 13. She was 21. He was her baby brother's best friend. So around the time, so 10 years earlier, that's how she's met this person. Now, around the time he was 15, he attempted to make his move on the now 23-year-old who shot him down because he's a child. She told me about it, and he has thought she was attractive ever since. Now let's jump back to a year ago where she's like 31 and this guy must be 23, right?
Yes.
Okay. So she messages me at like 11 o'clock one night and says random people on the internet are calling her names and being super rude. And she just needs someone to help her calm down because she's having a really hard time with it. Now, this is my childhood bestie. So I asked, what happened and why did it upset you so much? Because maybe we can get to the bottom of this. She said people were calling her a pedophile sympathizer because she said in Elvis's time, the late 50s and 60s, they didn't know it was wrong to date or have relations with minors. And that it couldn't have been wrong because Priscilla's parents let her be with him. I said, well, even if it wasn't illegal, that doesn't mean it's okay. And even then, they had to get her parents' permission. And that age of consent laws were a thing then too. So obviously someone knew it wasn't okay. And then she hit me with how I only want to make her feel bad about herself. So who's the bitch?
Oh,
this is a really wild one.
Whoa, this is a good one. Thank you so much for sending this in because I would understand why you are struggling with what is going on.
Yeah.
It is so interesting now that we are getting older and seeing how relationships and friendships change over time.
Yeah.
And like, I've got like my bestest friend in the entire world. I probably talk to her 3 or 4 times a year at this point.
My best friend and I from home like mostly text and then chat. Yeah.
And chat whenever you can, but it's never like an issue.
Yeah.
We like immediately jump right back to where we left off and it's always wonderful. But you grow a lot in between talking to someone. And when you've known them for so long and you've changed in ways, they've changed in ways, it is difficult to maintain a friendship as two people grow in their lives.
Yeah.
And hearing something like this, though, I could imagine why you would be like, wait, I know you're like my bestie and we are in this together. But wow, this is going a little bit far. And it would be one thing, I really feel like, if all of this happened and she's really in love with this dude and, you know, they met a long time ago and that's real weird. Nothing happened when they were young and I mean, it's weird, but, you know, they're in love and they kept on going, you know, like a Celine Dion and her manager type situation, which is like, it's no good, but I guess everybody was fine with it. So I guess they're just going to keep going. Yeah. It really is when she starts defending pedophiles.
Yeah.
I do feel I understand where I would say, wait a second.
Well, and I guess my question is, and we might not have an answer because we're not talking to this person, but what do you think was the friend's motivation in bringing the Elvis Presley convo to her friend? Do you think that she was subtly trying to find out if her friend was grossed out by her May, December sort of like weird origins relationship?
Right.
You know? Like, because, I mean, why'd she take it so personally? Why'd she say that? Oh, that's up to you. You're just asking about Elvis, you know? Like,
yeah, and you're online.
It has more to do with it.
Also,
right?
Where was she online defending Elvis? I want to know what social media posts. Like, I'm so curious of like what instance that she was like.
Probably like the comments.
I guess. And then people are starting to like rip her apart. Yeah. And then she started to spiral. And I will say, as someone that has read way too many comments and has spiraled before in my day, I get it. But you're right. Why did she hit you up at 11 p.m.?
Yes.
And is it because you didn't expect anyone to have your back? Is it because you're like, well, if anyone would, it would be this person that has loved me since the beginning of time. And there's no way they would ever say anything against me and my relationship and what I've chosen.
And because I really want to know if the friend who wrote to us, I mean, I can tell by the way this is written that you're a little disapproving of how they met each other and like how their relationship came to be. And I agree with you there. It does feel weird.
It feels weird, but at least nothing happened when he was.
But nothing happened when he was a child.
Nothing happened when he was a child, as far as we know.
And so I guess I'm wondering, like, yeah, your feelings on Elvis, are they the same feeling? Were you trying to tell her your feelings and your reaction to the Elvis thing? I mean, because I'm assuming you were, because if not, you could have just been like, it's the internet. Calm down. Let's get a drink.
Right. Don't worry about it. But you're
like,
right.
It's comments. These people don't know you.
They did say, I said, well, even if it wasn't illegal, doesn't mean it's okay.
Well, we say that all the time on on our other podcast, because it's SVU. It's like we're always talking about like there's always kind of like weird blurred age lines. People are like, it was legal. It's like just because someone's 18th birthday just passed, it does not make it less gross that you're this age and that's what you were going for. Like, so I guess I'm also like, there's a lot of red flags in this story that skeeve me out because this sounds like the boy developed a crush on her at like age 15. He's not that far out from 15. It's like he's 9 years away from 15 or 8. 15 was only 8 years ago for this guy. He's 23. He's suddenly getting the attention of this babe he thought was hot when he was a teen.
Now he's the
and they
father
get married
to your
within
children?
2 months. And you're not sexually attracted to him because FYI, I bet he's barely had sex. He's still so young.
So like on top of everything of however you felt about them knowing each other in the past, also how do you feel about their relationship up to this point of like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, were you just looking for a father for your children? And, you know, every person is looking for something different in a relationship. But if you're openly like, I'm not attracted to this person.
I just want to have somebody to have cocoa with when I go see Santa, like at the mall.
And be like a father to my children. But it's just, I think that it's a lot. I think the whole situation, I'm assuming the person that wrote in is what your problem is.
Yeah.
I think it's all of it put together.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just one of these aspects.
I guess like I'm like, again, I always need more information. This is why I love a live call. Like, because you said you haven't talked to her in almost a year, and that was the last thing she said to you over a message. Did you write anything back? Like, have you reached out to her and she's not talking to you? Are you distancing yourself because you're skeeved by the relationship and the reason that she's going out with him? Because it sounds like you don't really like that she's not fully into him, and the marriage sounds very rushed.
But also, do you miss her? You haven't talked in a year, and obviously this is still on your brain. So what is it about it that it's like, is this a kind of, you know, is this a relationship you would like to salvage? Is this something that you think that you could get past her relationship? Because for me, I don't know if it could be, because when my friends are in bad relationships, it is really difficult for me to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. I will say this. I have been in a similar-ish situation as this. I have 2 friends that are together. They have a 10-year age difference. When they met, I'm the same age as the older person.
Okay.
When they met, we were in a supervisory capacity of this younger person, and we were definitely like, the younger person like looked up to us.
Oh.
And so when they started dating, when it was legal, it was technically legal. They would come around.
It's a power dynamic.
And I'd be like, I hate the power dynamic. I hate the fact that this has been a person she's always looked up to, and this and that. But I will say now they've been together for like 14 years, have 2 kids, are super happy. Now that I know the younger person more as an adult, I know that they actually almost have the upper hand in the relationship.
Whoa.
Like, not upper hand, but they're more of like I don't want to give any like identifying details away or anything, but it's like, I definitely have zero feelings that there's anything like inappropriate. But at the beginning, I didn't like the power dynamic differences. Right. I was creeped by them.
Did you say anything about it?
No, but my friend could tell. Because we were trying to do stuff. We couldn't do stuff. She was not 21.
Oh.
Like, she couldn't even come to bars and do things we were doing. And we were like, okay. And then like once as time went on and I spent more time with I honestly put myself at arm's length for a little while. And as time went on and I spent more time with them, I was like, okay, I see how this works. I actually do see how this works. And now everybody can drink at a bar legally. And now they have now I'm at their wedding. Now they're having a family.
But you needed that perspective.
Yes.
You didn't have it at first. And it makes complete sense why you would pause and be like, hey guys, wait a second.
And I wonder if that's maybe what the person writing in needs. Like maybe you need to spend a little bit of like time with them and see what the dynamic is, and if that's
or keep your distance. If all of this is just like, you know what, I don't miss her. I'm okay.
My suggestion of like the spending time is only if you're feeling like you want to salvage this relationship. I'm saying your perspective could change. It's been a year. Maybe their relationship has changed. Maybe I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know what you. I don't think you're a bitch. If she said something to you like, you only want me to feel bad about myself, it sounds like you were just expressing your opinion about Elvis. But again, everything is
And she was
coded.
being very defensive, which she was already in a defensive place. So I understand that, when you're already spitting fire at people, sometimes it's hard to stop the fire.
Right. You're coming straight from an internet fight to fight with your best childhood friend. Like, of course.
And you're like, I thought you were supposed to have my back.
Yeah.
You were supposed to like support me. And so I also get that of like, I am a very sensitive person. So I do get that feeling of like, I came to you for support and you didn't give it to me.
Right.
And that lash out. But if a year has gone by, maybe it's something that you want to be like, hey, dude, let's like talk about this for a second.
Yeah. And maybe...
Because you're obviously not wishing her poorly. I just hope that she like falls more in love with this dude.
I don't know.
I guess.
Do you think people fall in love more if they're not in it at the beginning completely?
I guess not. I
haven't seen a lot of examples of that.
I can really get past a lot of physical attributes though when I'm in love with like the way a person lives their life. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if this is like because she said she's not physically attracted to him. So that's why my only thing I'm like, but if he's
Have
really,
you been
really
in a long relationship with somebody who you're not physically attracted to?
Kinda.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you weren't at the beginning either? Or it fizzled?
No.
Okay.
No, it was just like he's good. Like he's better than I am, so maybe this will work out. And then it's like, nah, didn't, never.
Yeah, like
nothing ever grew.
Yeah. I guess love can grow. A tree can grow in Brooklyn, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We do know love is not blind, and that is something I will stand by forever. But thank you so much for writing in. This was such a good, juicy one. Let us know what you think, where we're going from this afterwards. I'd love to find out more. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Jackie, read our next one.
Oh my God, we have to,
because I know you are. You have feelings.
So I'm like 99% sure I'm not the bitch. You're not the bitch, by the way. But my birthday was a couple months ago. I'm already fired up. My birthday was a couple months ago. 2 days before this incident, we found out our 9-year-old dog had terminal cancer. My friend comes over early for my birthday, and I hear a kitten cry. I look around. This friend got me a 6.5-week-old kitten for my birthday. I said I can't keep him. She says she has nowhere to take him. I love animals, and this just gutted me. So I take the cat. We find out it was actually 5 weeks old and had fleas. All the while, I'm taking care of a very, very sick dog and already have another dog and 2 cats. Am I being a bitch for wanting to end my friendship over this? I don't understand why anyone would ever think this was a good idea. I was literally crying every day on my way home knowing I had to see how much sicker my dog got while I was gone. Why would adding more responsibility for the next 10 plus years be a good idea? Thankfully, I love this kitten and my dog loved him before he passed. But Jesus Christ, there's more, but this is the big one. Am I the bitch? Overwhelmed farm owner.
Overwhelmed farm owner. Okay, so you kept the kitten and you do love the kitten.
Kept the kitten.
And I'm sorry to hear about your dog.
I'm
first
so
of all.
sorry
about
sending
your dog.
love. I'm sending love because I'm the biggest old fur baby bitch over here.
I have to say, okay, Jackie, you say your thing.
Never, ever, never, ever, never, ever surprise someone and or gift them an animal or anything for them to take care of unless plant is the top. Plant might be, and you have to know they love plants already.
Plant
and
is
you're
the
not
top.
just giving them something to kill.
Yeah.
When I see, sorry, I already went on this like tirade before we started recording because like nothing, and now that we're heading into the holiday season, nothing frustrates me more than people that would just get an animal for someone that eat, or if you have discussed it at length, you know you are going to get one, and you're like, surprise me with whatever kind, I guess.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even want to do that. I'd be like, okay, Jeff, you want to surprise me with a dog? Great. Tell me we're going to go get a dog and that we're going to go pick out the dog together.
Right.
We're going to go through this in the same way that these psychopaths that buy a car for their partner in these goddamn holiday commercials, and they are psychopaths. You're going to make that huge of a financial commitment and not talk to me about it?
It's psychotic.
I'm sorry. I overwhelmed farm owner. I'm with you 1,000%.
Those are very heteronormative old ones where like the man makes all the money, so he buys the Mercedes for his wife because like he buys all the big purchases and she has nothing to do with the finances.
That's not my fucking life.
And that's not my reality. My husband went out and spent too much money on wings the other day, and I was texting him today going, a lot of money at that wing down. So I don't think anyone's getting anybody a car.
No.
But okay. So I completely agree 100%. I'm also not, please don't think differently of me, listeners. I just am not a pet person. I'm one of 6 kids. My mom's one of 14. She never had a pet. My dad grew up only child in New York City, never had a pet. I come from a long line of not pet people.
We'll never judge you
my
for
parents,
it. I understand.
Yeah, like they just...
I'm the opposite, but I understand.
Yeah. Like we've never had one. My husband and I got together. We were both like, pets? Nah. Pets? Nah. We just never have had one. I will say we are now promising my child a dog in 7 years.
Oh,
we told her in 7 years.
Okay.
She has no idea how much time that means.
It's
She's
a million years.
We got to get a bandana. We got to get dog food. I mean, she's like,
she's so
over
cute.
the weekend, she was like, what about this bandana for our dog? She found it at a cowboy party. I go, girl, 7 years.
7 years,
She has
babe.
no idea what 7 years means. It might as well be next week. So anyway, I'm just not a pet person.
You're ringooing your child, by the way.
So, what does that mean?
Ringoo. 7 days. It's the ring. Yeah,
7
you're
days until the
ringooing your
ring.
child. Yeah.
Okay.
7 days.
So I could understand. I could see. I'm truly trying to play devil's advocate here. I would never ever in a million years give anybody a pet. I wouldn't know how to even go get one. But I could see how maybe this friend thought, since you were going through this sad time, maybe because like when somebody, like one of my first things is when someone tells me their pet is sick, I'm like, do you think you'll get another one like after? Because I just don't know what to say.
Right.
I don't really know pet etiquette and stuff. So I'm wondering if she thought she was like doing you a favor. That said, to give you a flea-ridden cat is inexcusable.
That's the thing. If someone's going through this, send them an Uber Eats gift card.
Right.
Like, they don't want to think about dinner. Like they like things like that. There's
and to
ways
say,
to do
I
this.
have nowhere to take the cat. It's like, figure it out. Get online and figure out a place to take this cat. And you do love the cat. So she did give you something that you love.
I know.
But I do agree. I think I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know that I would have thought about how much stress you were under with a sick dog as somebody that's never had a sick pet, that's never really, I would be like,
devil's advocate.
I would be like,
You're right.
I'm just devil's advocate going, I'm so sorry you're upset. How can I make you feel better? Not like thinking about the fact that you've got to come home from work every day and see your dog sicker. Like the way you wrote that, I was like, oh, that is so sad. I never even would have thought about that. And that it's adding so much more to your responsibility. She maybe thinks, oh, you've got a dog and 2 cats. Maybe this cute little tiny guy will make you feel better about your sadness.
I understand.
If you're thinking about doing this for a friend, I am saying 1,000% don't ever fucking do it.
Never do it.
I just don't know if you want to end a friendship over this. And I'm wondering, is there more going on? Is this a friend that's constantly trying to do something helpful that ends up causing a pain in your ass?
Right.
Like, is this a friend that's like, oh, I got us a reservation. Oops, it's for next month. I guess we have nowhere to go tonight. Whatever. Like, is this a friend that's like kind of constantly fucking up and you're over it? Or, because if it's just based on this one event, I would kind of give them the benefit of the doubt that they were trying to do something nice and that they severely misjudged.
I understand what you're saying, and I will put my anger off to the side for a moment, because you are correct that you shouldn't just, I guess, immediately end the friendship, even though I definitely probably would. But I understand, because you're right. Who knows that, like, maybe they just meant really well.
Yeah.
But I guess I would just assume that that person doesn't know me.
Yeah.
At all. And I was like, then you don't know me.
Yeah.
And I would then have to gauge, would I like this person to get to know me more? And do I want to explain at some point, now that you love the cat,
right.
Yeah, that was a really bad time for you to do that. I feel like if I was to continue this friendship, I would want then this person to get to know me better.
I just I need to give you some feedback about what you did there. Because again, if somebody showed up at my house, me, Kara Klink, with a 5-week cat, I'd be like, we've never met before. You don't even know my last name.
Yes.
That's crazy. But yeah, ugh. She thought you're an overwhelmed farm owner.
Yeah.
She thought maybe you want another animal on your farm.
Throw another one on the pile and it'll make you smile.
I definitely agree with Jackie and think that you got to give her the feedback. And you said this was only a couple months ago. I think you need to be like, hey, and gosh, that means so your dog.
I'm so sorry.
Died so quickly, but I'm
so
sure
sorry.
I'm so glad that you have these other pets that you can pour your love into. I'm glad you love the kitten, but I do think you need to give your friend the feedback that this was not it.
How much work a 5-week-old kitten is? I know it's not as much as a 5-week-old pup, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It would be one thing also if she'd come over.
It's
and
vet stuff. Isn't it spay and neutering and
there's a lot.
all kinds
the fact
of
that,
fleas?
The fleas and everything, and knowing what they can and cannot take it. It's a work.
Yeah.
And I know that you have other animals, but she gave you a project.
Yeah. She sure did.
I'd be upset.
That would be annoying.
But let us know what you end up doing.
Yeah.
We'd love to find out.
We'd love to know if you cut her off or you just give her some feedback. All right. We have just a few minutes left in the episode. We're going to do this one last DM that we got.
Love this.
And I love it because this is like a lovely low stakes. Who's the bitch? Let me know if I'm being a bitch. This does not involve cutting anybody out of your life or any kind of family strife or wedding stress.
But you felt
but it's good.
Seen.
I felt seen here. Okay, this is from Valerie. She says, hey ladies, wanted your opinions on something that's been happening my whole life. And if I'm being the bitch in the situation, capitalized all of bitch. I grew up with a last name that is usually known as a first name. And more often than not, when people would see my full name, they would call me by my last name thinking it was my first name. When I got married and changed my last name, I thought I was done with the first name shenanigans forever. I was wrong. I have what I feel is a pretty easy first name to spell. But as I've started my new life in academia, I've noticed that so many people respond to my emails with my name misspelled. My name has been spelled in so many ways I didn't even think were possible. But people are getting creative. Is this something I should brush off, correct, or am I being a bitch and overreacting? Feel free to use my first name for context. I love you both. And that's Valerie from Instagram.
Because also, you're right. Valerie, not that difficult of a name to spell.
I don't even know an alternative Valerie.
I guess if you add an extra Y.
My daughter has a girl in her class that spells it exactly the same way as you, but no E at the end. So it's Valerie just with it ending in an I.
Okay.
But it's not like it's, I don't know, one of these names like Caitlin. Like my sister's name is Caitlin. There's 6 ways to spell Caitlin, you know? Valerie, that is so funny. And that you're in academia where people should kind of know how names are classically spelled.
Yeah.
I think this is so funny. I don't think you're a bitch. I think you're a bitch if you send a company-wide email saying, everybody fucking note how you spell my name. Then maybe you're being a little bit of a bitch. But
even then, I think it would be pretty funny if I received that email. I'm you're right. When I am writing an email, I guess maybe this is just my anxiety, but I look to see how they spell their name at least 15 times before I send the email. So I can't imagine. I'm is this just how people without anxiety live their life?
Yeah.
You just send random emails and you just don't think to spell check anything?
It's so crazy. I was telling Jackie, I'm Kara Klink, all K's, and a lot of people conflate my first and last name. I've gotten countless emails that are to Clara when it is right there in front of you, Kara Klink. I have a very short name.
Yes.
Short first, short last. It's 1 syllable each. And yet Clara, K-L-A-R-A. How many Claras, K-L-A-R-A, have you even met in your life?
Not that many. And if I have, they're usually C-L-A-R-A.
Yes.
C-L-A-R-A.
Yeah. And I've gotten that.
Yeah,
They'll just
I'm
fully
sure.
go to a different letter.
Oh, I bet.
So,
and I'm lucky that I've never really had to deal with this before. I mean, yeah, Zabrowski gets fucked up every once in a while,
but Jacqueline isn't it spelled a little bit of a different way?
Mine is spelled the dumb American way, so no one ever has any idea of how. In fact, usually they'll just make it up and they'll just throw C's and Q's in there. Oh yeah, they really do. But then I always think it's funny when people think I'm a Jaqui, and I really think, do I look like a Jaqui? I feel like Jaqui is definitely like way nicer. Like I feel like Jaqui gets like, I don't know, where's chiffon?
Well, this is like from what's that show that just came out about court and everybody was in court and only one guy, they were all actors.
Oh yes, yeah.
There was a woman in that named Jaqui and she was like, she was always like, they were like Jackie and she was like, it's Jaqui. And it cracked me up because she was supposed to be this uppity person like what you're describing. But anyway, Valerie, I think we've been there. It's very funny that people keep spelling your name. I don't really know how you write an email back correcting the spelling of your name.
No.
Unless it's like a form comes through and you go, and I just want to point out, my name is spelled K-A-R-A, not C-A, just in case that affects the login process or any, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In case,
jury duty. I'm sorry. I was going to lose my mind if I didn't.
I was like, the court show.
And I'm like, the ones that make the judgments on the court.
I loved it. Jury duty. But yes, Jaqui and Clara here to tell you we understand where you're coming from, but I don't know that there's a way to say anything. And I think just being privately, I think you should get creative. Start keeping a list of all, maybe you should write back. If someone writes you back named Steve and they're writing you back like with this wild like spelling of Valerie, maybe you should write back like S-T-Y-V-E and be like, is that not how you spell Steve? Like, is that not, you know what I mean?
That.
Start spelling back the wrong way and see what happens.
I just like,
not trying to get you fired from your professorship.
No. Yeah, in academia, I'm like, bitch, it's Valerie. That's Valerie. I just imagine you going absolutely mad.
Valerie.
And I was trying to think of a way to spell out Valerie to the song Gloria. G-L-O-R-I, Gloria. Yeah. And I was like, but it's like, that's just too roundabout of a way.
Yeah. Girl, it's crazy. I just think it's so funny that you were finally so excited to shed your last name and get like a first and a last name, and that people have now moved on to fucking up your first name.
Forever the problem.
Anyway,
the problem.
This is how minute and granular we can take your questions here on Who's the Bitch. We love to hear all of your huge secret sibling stories, of course.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to write us in something small like Valerie. People keep spelling her name wrong because I think this is a great submission.
We are definitely here for it. And we love hearing from you guys. I just want to say thank you to everybody for writing in. You can send in your own problems, advice needs, anything you need, who'sthebitch.com, or you can call in live to our next live stream, which is on November 11th at twitch.tv/LPNTV at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Call us in live.
Set a little reminder in your calendar to get onto that live stream and call us because we love talking and getting having a little back and forth to talk to you. Also, subscribe on Apple, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe wherever you're subscribing. Leave us a review. You're supposed to have reviews. I don't know. But who'sthebitch.com has got the number for voicemails. It's got the Instagram. It's got the Gmail. And so head over there. And thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.